Okay, so we're going to cover a few different ways to go out and get sellers. So we know that listings are leverage. Gary Keller has taught us that listings are leverage. Can anybody tell me why listings are leverage? Why would we say that? Why are listings maybe a little more valuable than a buyer, if that's the right word? But can anybody tell me why listings are so important?
You have more control of the market because you have the inventory.
Yes. Once we have listings, we have inventory, and everybody in the market who's looking for that type of home is coming to us. We're not going to them. So yes, true. What else?
Can you handle more listings than you can handle more buyers?
Yes, that is true. There is a National Association of Realtor statistic regarding that. And I believe, if I'm not correct, a listing on average takes you 4 hours of work, where a buyer on average takes you 32 hours of work. So even when it comes to just hours you're putting into these clients, there's a huge difference between a seller and a buyer. I love listings because it is something you can do from anywhere. You can go on vacation, you can handle your listings, you don't necessarily have, because you're the one who's controlling that inventory. Where a buyer, it's a little bit harder to take a week off work and have a handful of buyers that need to be shown homes and inspections and things like that. So that's kind of where the time difference comes in. So yes, Marcel, that is correct. Any other thoughts on why listings could be so important or why we call them leverage? Where's my marketing gurus here?
Well, I guess you could market through your listing with open houses, whatnot, to get other clients, potential buyers or more sellers.
Yes, yes. It basically gives you a really good excuse to go out there and do all sorts of marketing. So most listings should turn into 2 deals. Either that seller is going to turn into a buyer. So now you have 2 deals because they're going to sell and buy, or because of the sign in the yard or your efforts regarding those marketing things like open houses, door knocking, should result in another piece of business. So one sign in the yard should relate to 2 pieces of business. So again, those are just a few of the reasons. I mean, there's a lot of them, but those are probably the biggest reasons why sellers are, I don't like using the word valuable. And I think it gets the message across that they just are more valuable to us in terms of our time, energy, and money. Buyers are awesome. I love buyers, don't get me wrong. And we're just going to focus on sellers tonight. So I'm really just going to brainstorm with you guys some really good ways to go out and pick up buyers. I'm also going to incorporate a few pieces of technology in here tonight to just show you a couple things as well. So one of the best ways to get a seller is through your SOI. So how can we do that? There's multiple ways we can do that. SOI is your sphere of influence. So the people who know you. So there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can do it through your database of communicating with them consistently. You can do your monthly neighborhood smart plan, which I think is the most valuable tool in terms of marketing to a seller or somebody who's interested in selling. Gives you, again, good reasons to go out on social media. You can pick sellers up that way. Your SOI can be just your raving fan. They're going to be able to, go on those fake appointments and tell them what you do. Then they can go out and tell other people. So there's a lot you can do with your SOI. Any other thoughts on what we can do with SOI? I would say most people's business is ran with the majority coming from your SOI. So this is a big one. Any other thoughts on how you can get listings from your SOI?
Events.
Events. Yes, events is a good way. Events is a really good one. Again, you're marketing to somebody and you're hoping they're going to go out and tell everybody else what you can do. So yeah, events are a really good way to market sellers.
I think another thing with events is that some events you can have the opportunity to allow them to bring a friend. Like, who else do you think would enjoy this? So it's building your SOI, and potentially they could be the ones looking to sell.
Absolutely. So we have multiple agents, a good handful, that make $1 million or more. And one in particular, if you were to ask her, she will say, I host events. She holds an event like once a month and she makes $1 million a year. So she jokes about it. I have a party every month and I make $1 million a year. And it's not a joke. That really is how she builds her business. So events cannot be overstated. And really what she's doing with those events is just making her SOI that much bigger by doing exactly what you just said. Bring a friend, introduce me to some new people. They soon become more people into her SOI, and she's making, a ton of money, a ton of sales coming from that SOI. So SOI is huge. The next one I put on here is making phone calls. So this can also be with your SOI too. We definitely want to be doing at least 4 quarterly calls with your SOI every single year. So everybody gets 4 calls. So everything we teach as far as like 36 touch with your emails, your mailers, your events, all of that is wonderful. And what makes it work is that you're doing those quarterly calls. They do need to still hear from you. They do still need to know that you're a real person behind the emails. And there's a whole lot of other ways you can do phone calls. So just so you guys know, it's funny, I talk to a lot of people every day and find that people don't realize that we do offer an automated dialer to you guys. I basically built my business starting from the phone calls before the SOI, and I would get on a dialer every single day. My goal was to talk to 20 people every single day and build the database that way. So phone calls, things that you could do is call around another listing. Doesn't have to be yours. So that's what we call circle calling, or just listed, just sold. Making phone calls through a neighborhood when an open house is happening. So that's another way that you can make phone calls. So this would be more kind of in the cold calling area, and it's very lucrative. You can definitely find people making phone calls. So if you don't want to start by tapping into your SOI, which you should, but if you don't want to and you feel a little hesitant to do that, start by making phone calls. For sale by owners are going to be something you can call. Expireds are people you can call. These are all people that have raised their hand and said, I want to move. And they just at this moment don't think they need our help. But 9 out of 10 of those will use a realtor to make that move. So by starting with phone calls to them, that's a way for you to pick those up as listings. And we have access to all of those for you. Door knocking. So door knocking, very similar to circle calling. I think it's just maybe a little more warmer because you are face to face with people. So door knocking, you can do the same thing. You can door knock and hand out flyers around somebody else's just listed property or your own. You can door knock around those that when they go under contract, you can let them know, hey, we sold it, give them a story. We sold it in 7 days. We sold it for full price, whatever the case may be. Door knocking around an open house. I'm going to play a video in just a second that shows you how another top realtor built her business door knocking and what she said, her actual script in here. But door knocking is a really good way. So how I did it is I did the phone calls. I would call, because it's more efficient. I could get through a list of people and I could talk to more people. When I found somebody that was interested in making a move, I switched it to a door knock. So I would then go to them and just say, hey, I'm the one that called you yesterday. I was in the neighborhood. I just wanted to pop by and give you some information. And then turn it into kind of a face-to-face. Again, it's a good way to kind of make that appointment and get in front of somebody. So I use both of those kind of together when I was starting to build my business. Who else here has been door knocking? I know we have a couple door knockers in here. Anything you want to share with that? I'm just looking through who's on here. Has anybody on here tried door knocking? Or even making calls? I would love to hear your experience making the calls. No?
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
So I haven't door knocked yet, but that's something I'm interested in. But I was
Okay.
just wondering if I need a permit to do that.
That's a good question. So we are being recorded. So I will give you the maybe the broker friendly question. So wherever you, or the broker friendly answer, wherever you are door knocking, different cities will require permits. So depending on where you're at, you could go into the city and you could get a permit to be out there door knocking. I personally, in 21 years, have never had a door knocking permit. I've never gone to real estate jail, knock on wood. And so that's kind of my answer. There are cities that could require it. If somebody ever came up to me, and I've heard that they have come up to other people, I've just never experienced this. But if they came up to me and said, "Hey, where's your permit?" I would just basically say, "Oh, I wasn't aware I needed one," and then I would go to the city and acquire that. But it really depends on the city, and I would say a very large majority of door knockers do not have a permit, and it's okay. Alan, were you going to say something to that?
No, that answered my question.
Oh, okay. Did you kind of have the same question?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Alexi, were you going to say something? Have you been out there? You've been door knocking, right?
I have been door knocking like in my neighborhood. It wasn't anything extreme. It was more of like when I first got my license and I made pop bys saying, "Hey, I'm an agent," and I also invited them to like the Splash Summit event. So it was more of the neighbors that I knew. And then I did actually go door knocking one time to an open house that I was doing just the day before. And I had a lot of people didn't answer that day, but I did have like one or two people answer, and it was more of just like I didn't really know my scripts very well, so it was very botched. But I would say that I got, the key points out, just like how long have you been in the neighborhood? Do you like it here? So definitely a little more practice there, but I have tried it.
I love it. And she lived to tell. So if any of you are scared, it's not that scary. Door knocking, and there's a joke that I used to always say when I would go door knocking, I could never find a door to actually knock on. I would literally sit in my car and be scared to death. It's just not that hard. You just like a phone call, just like a door knock, you will warm up and you will get better. So I love that you started in your own neighborhood. Maybe you knew some people, it was a little more friendly. So that's a really good way to start, is just go to people that you know. You could door knock your SOI too. Pop buys are one of my favorite things to do, which is basically just dropping by a cute little gift of some sort. And those are the people that you typically know. So maybe start there, so it's a little bit warmer. Um, but yeah, door knocking, phone calls, they're not as scary as they sound, and they are a really good way to pick up sellers. So thanks, you
Terry.
guys, for sharing that. Yeah.
One thing that Liz and I talk about is we have some vetted charities. So maybe to get a little bit of a warmer reception, let's say you want to farm a certain area, maybe it's your neighborhood, maybe it's a neighborhood that you maybe kind of want to get some listings at, or maybe some connections. You can take like a bag for food collection, clothing collection, whatever charity you kind of have some passion for, and you can just go knock on doors and say, "Hey, introduce yourself. I'm doing a charity drive for X. Here's, would you be interested in donating?" And kind of start that conversation there, and then kind of you can circle back and say, "Hey, I'm going to be coming by on Saturday, pick things up. Can I get an email address or a phone number just to give you a reminder I'm going to come by?" And that's where maybe you can kind of grow your SOI, but do it one, building community with a purpose, and it's maybe a little bit more warm sell rather than just knocking on a door.
Yes. I love that. And right now is a really good time for that. I feel like people, because I still get those bags and stuff on my door, I feel like it's always needed. So it's easy to be like, oh, in the winter, the food banks, Thanksgiving, Christmas, they're always asking for food. But a lot of times those food banks, they run low right now as we're getting into spring and we've gone through the holidays. So now is a perfect time to go out there and just collect food for the food banks. That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
I love that. There's lots of charities. I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm going to add that to my list. Charities are just a really good way to get out there and talk to people in general. So whether you're putting it on social media, you're letting your SOI get involved. It reminds me, my partner and I, we worked in a animal shelter for a very long time, and we had a lot of people who wanted to get involved in that. So even when it came to our sellers, we would say a portion of our commission will be donated back to this community. So I love the thought of like adding some community, getting some passion behind what we're doing. We feel better about it. It's not just, hey, who do you know that wants to buy or sell, right? Like we want it to be warmer. So I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. And then another one, which may be on your list, and Jake kind of mentioned events, but I think a lot of times when we're thinking of how to get business, we're trying to think of something new, but maybe we just look at what we're already doing. Do you have a hobby that you enjoy? Do you have a club you already belong to? Do you have a sport or something that you already do to where you can maybe try, just inform them, try to grow your business through what you're already doing rather than trying to stretch yourself too thin, trying to do something different?
Yes. Yes. Love that. Such a good idea. What are you already doing? There's always things you can do with that, like maybe some swag or, a t-shirt that says, ask me about real estate. My phone, this sticker, I can't tell you how many people, I think it was a home warranty company. The funny thing is I couldn't even tell you where I got the sticker. But somebody brought it in and I put it on my phone. So wherever I go, I set it down, and I've had so many people ask me, and half of it's a joke, like, well, you asked me to ask you about real estate, but it's a conversation starter. So throw that on a hat, throw it on a t-shirt, and go to the gym, go play your pickleball, go do those sporting events or whatever you're already doing. Just throw real estate on there. People want to talk about it. So all good ideas. And I don't think those are on my list, Marcel. So we're going to add those. Cool. Any other comments kind of around what we've talked about so far, or questions? Cool. Open houses. Again, that's a really good way to pick up sellers. So the nice thing about open houses, when a sign goes in the yard, I challenge you guys to take a look in your neighborhoods. When a sign goes up, it never fails shortly after another sign's going to come up. So it always takes kind of that first person to list their house, and then the neighbors will jump on board with it. Either they're like, wow, if the Joneses can sell their house for this much money, we could sell ours for this much money. Or if the Joneses can do this, that whole keeping up with the Jones. But it does seem like there's always another sign that pops up. So an open house, or even going back to a just listed, it's a really good way to get out there and talk to people. Just let them know, hey, we're doing an open house. Wanted to let you know it's listed for this. It's this size. It's got this many bedrooms, bathrooms. That's a good way to get the neighbors to talk to you and for you to pick up the other listings that potentially are coming. You've just got to be that first person that gets out there. So open houses are a really good way. Those neighbors also tend to come into the open house. So you always want to make sure you're asking good questions. And the first question I usually ask is, are you looking for yourself or someone else? And then they're like, oh no, I'm just the neighbor. So then in my mind, I'm like, what are they here looking for? Are they looking at the value of this house? Are they looking to see what updates these people have made? Are they really just curious? But usually there's a reason behind a neighbor coming into an open house. And it's usually they're coming in because they have a thought of selling their own house. So open houses, I think, as much as we talk about them being geared toward picking up buyer leads, which they absolutely are, they are a really good way to pick up seller leads too. So you can always do something there where you're offering a free home evaluation. You could I see people put in like a bowl, enter to win a $50 Home Depot gift card, something like that. As we're gathering the information, you're building your database and you're hoping to get listing leads. So open houses are huge. Any experiences in here of picking up listing leads in an open house? It's okay if you don't. We've got a lot of people that have picked up listing leads. Even if the person's coming in and they're like, hey, I want to buy this house, there's usually another house that has to be sold. So it's just a really good way to pick up listings. So keep that in mind. Social media, we talk a lot about social media. Social media is a really good way to pick up listings. So recently, I think a lot of you guys know I'm actually selling a subdivision right now of multiple lots. That I can 100% guarantee I got through social media. And the way that I can guarantee that is I had not spoken to my clients for a very long time. I stay in touch with them, but I felt like we were super engaged on social media. So anything that this person was doing, I was like, hey, happy birthday. Hope you're doing better. I mean, really staying superly actively engaged with these people. The people who I listed this from, the person that came in off social media is not even listed on the contracts. So I do believe that through my engagement on social media, showing them that I'm a realtor, that I'm a real person, all of that, I can literally 100% guarantee I got that just by being active on social media. So it doesn't even have to be real estate related. It's just spending some time on there. There is something that I like to share with people called the 5 by 5 by 5. And that is something I do with social media. So it basically is every single day I go on to 5 people's page and post something. So I'm gonna do that with 5 people. I'm going to go comment on 5 people's posts. So I know that sounds confusing, but it's basically the opposite. I'm gonna post on them and I'm gonna comment on the things that they've posted on. And I'm going to direct message 5 people. If you do that every single day, 5 by 5 by 5, as just something that it takes you 10 minutes. It's something I do kind of in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee, getting going for the day. I open up social media and instead of just, mindlessly scrolling, I'm very intentional on what I'm doing on social media. So something I'd love for you guys to put in your toolbox, the 5 by 5 by 5. Anybody else on here? Alexi, I saw you jump off mute, maybe, I think.
It was not me, but are you talking about if I've done the 5 by 5 by 5?
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, now I'm picking on you because you definitely are social media heavy. But yeah, have you tried that?
I do. I kind of had forgot about it, but I do like a lot of posts and make sure I comment. But I could do more direct messaging. I just don't know what I would say. What do you say?
So initially, when you're starting to, maybe you're not communicating with somebody very well, you could basically just say, "Hey, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm in real estate. I have a very cool VIP program." Like you can be intentional and make it about real estate. I've gotten a lot of people into my database by doing that, just saying, basically what my VIP program is. I'm going to keep you up to date on the market. I'm going to send out gifts and prizes. I'm going to invite you to my parties. Is that something you'd like to be in? I have a script that I can copy and paste and send to you guys. And that's what I do is I copy and paste it. So it's super easy. So many people will say, sure, I'd love to be part of that. And then I'm like, great. I just need to know what's your birthday, what's your address, what's your whatever piece of information I'm missing. I like to do that through direct messaging. Otherwise, if you're like, no, I want it to be a little more friendly or a little more social and not so much about real estate, just look at their social media and see what they've been doing. You could just make it really personal, like, oh, hey, I saw that you just went to the Dominican Republic. What'd you think? I've been thinking, so interested in it. The more you can become interested in what they're doing, and it's not, sometimes social media, it's like, well, yeah, everybody likes my post or everybody loves my post. But if you take it to a private message and you're like, oh my gosh, I've always loved French bulldogs. I see that you have one. Just something more personal, then you're going to get into a conversation. So then it becomes two-way. I consider it a contact because it is two-way communication. So I would just take whatever piece of information you can get, very similar to what you would do in like a handwritten note. I mean, I literally do things like, oh, hey, I saw a black Jeep today and it reminded me of you. I hope you're doing well. I mean, you could do something like that. Make it personal if you can, and don't overthink it. It can be super easy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I would love that script. If you could send that.
Okay. Yep. I even think the emojis and everything are in there.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I will send that to you.
One
Cool.
other thing that I've said is just to like start random conversation is I literally saw or it's I used this yesterday. Thought I saw you and it made me think of you, but because it wasn't you. So how have you been?
Yeah.
Just
Any
like
reason to get talking to them. I love that. And something else now that your face popped up on my little screen here. Jake is really good at birthdays too. So birthdays are a really good thing that you can get off social media. You can actually print out all of the birthdays on social media. I don't know if you knew that. Like, I don't know if you can do it on Instagram. I know you can do it on Facebook. But that's a good way to build your database too. So, and love on the people that you know, but you can just print out something. It's going to tell you all the birthdays that you have this month. Hop on social media, send them a cute video, send them a direct message, post on, birthdays are a really good way to do your 5 by 5 by 5. There's at least 5 birthdays every day. And Jake's really diligent about his birthdays. So any other social media ideas that you guys can think of or that you've tried that seems to be working? Okay, cool. I did click on my enter here. So networking. So that's really good. I think Marcel kind of brought this up earlier, but networking is a really good way to get out there and get sellers too. These really all tie in together. So when it comes to like your sphere of influence, the events, you're networking with these people. I also really liked business to business networking. So I was definitely part of a business networking group for like 10 years. And I think I have this in here later in my notes, but kind of follow your money. So where are you spending your money? And, you can expect to receive money or business back from those people. Business to business referrals through networking, people really get the concept that, you are trying to build a business. And so your insurance agent, you're spending money with your insurance agent, ask them, hey, if you were to come across somebody today that's looking to sell their home, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to? Would you be open to sending them to me? You don't have to say, hey, I'm spending, $500 a month on you. Where's my business? There's definitely a better way to do that. But that's how I kind of see networking. Other ideas of networking, if you're really big into social media, is taking these people, highlighting their business. Emily Hayes is one of our top agents, and she literally built her business through networking and did a lot of it through like coffee dates. She'd go out to, say, the insurance agent and just say, hey, I'd love to get together for coffee and talk about business. Gets together with them, takes a video with them, highlights their business and puts them on social media. And in turn, that person is going to feel like, man, she just marketed my business. What can I do to help her? So that's kind of the idea of like business to business networking. But anytime you can get together with multiple people, whether it be, something you're doing on the weekends. I used to play bunco a lot. I don't play it really anymore, but I used to get together with the same 12 women every single month, and really became networking with them. We used to do parties at each other's house, like somebody's selling makeup or somebody's selling, I don't know, Tupperware or something. But I really became an advocate for that because then I get to be around all their friends and their friends' friends and their family. So networking can just be a huge way to go out there and pick up sellers. So any other thoughts on networking? Has anybody tried that? There's a lot of ways you can do it. Oh, sorry, Jake.
No, I'm just thinking. So literally, I say literally a lot, but literally yesterday, I had two um business owners I know that were talking about networking events, and they're like, "How do I even find one, get started, all those things? This is what we want to do." And I'm like, I was just talking to them, but I told them, I was like, I know like 3 or 4 BNI groups. Um, that I'm sure you could join, or we could probably just start our own. I have no idea what to do.
Yeah. BNI is a good one. It's a little challenging as realtors or even
Right.
lenders or anything, just because it's an exclusive spot. So sometimes you kind of have to build your own, which is exactly what I did to get into a BNI. But that's a really good way to do it. And I've been part of the groups where it's like, let's just all get together once a week and network. It's not as official. So you could definitely do that. Other ways on social media, you can go on there and click on events. You can type in networking. Going back to exactly what Marcel said, like become part of the groups of the things you like to do anyway. If you're going hiking, go get part of a hiking group. That's a form of networking, so kind of going back to the things that you already like and turning it into a networking event. But if you're just bored on a Saturday, you can literally click in and say events near me and go find the events that might interest you. You can go to Chamber of Commerce. Those are pretty open to anybody coming, and they do networking events. There's a lot of like speed networking. The movie theaters, they hold those where you're literally like every 1 minute you're meeting a new person and handing out your card. Um, those to me feel a little quicker than I'd like them to be. I want them to be a little more like, I want the relationship to be able to be built a little bit more. But you can do that with the people, again, where you're spending your money. Take that insurance person and ask if you can go sit down with them. You want to pick their brain and figure out how they're doing their business. Your hair person you spend money with, network with them. Any business person is going to respect that. So you really can create your own networking groups. Love it. And what'd you say?
If I have homework.
More homework, more homework. We all do. Okay. And then golden letters. So this is something that a lot of people in Keller Williams do. And this is something where you basically are sending out letters to a specific neighborhood and you kind of have a specific buyer in mind. And so if you do have a buyer, sometimes it's better if it's like a legit buyer, like, hey, my buyer, Jake Jenkins, he is looking to live in a house in this neighborhood. I'd love to help him. Do you have any interest in selling your home? So that's kind of the idea of a golden letter. You can probably Google it. I can find you a copy of it. There are companies that actually you can pay to get the letters out. You can make your own. There's whole trainings around just a golden letter, and people are picking up listings by doing this. I actually tried this through email, going through command and just sending out a golden letter, which was an email. And I was able to pick up a couple leads from that of just people going, wait, you actually have a buyer. So it's just different in the fact that they're opening up a letter in the mail that you're saying, I have a specific buyer for your house. Would you be interested in selling? My father-in-law, we had some land that we owned, and he called me one day and he's like, this guy wants to buy our land, and was so excited about the letter he received in the mail. So you just never know when you're going to catch that person that is like, man, we do want to sell this and we just got this letter and they have a buyer. So whether or not that house fits their needs, you're going to have to say, my buyer is actually looking for this, or my buyer, I don't know till I see your house. But that golden letter is what is going to spark the conversation or help you find the people in that neighborhood that have thought of listing. So there's a lot of trainings. We have recorded trainings of this. If you want to hear kind of the niche people that have turned this into a niche within Keller Williams, I can definitely help you find those. So it's a big thing.
I just printed off a bunch of these as well, and I'm gonna because I do have some buyers who are interested in like daybreak all on the lake. So I did actually make a bunch of these, and I'm gonna be putting them on doors next week or this weekend. So I'll have to let you know how that goes because I'm actually really excited about that.
Yeah, it's basically a warm letter, right? Like you really have a buyer who really wants to live there. So I love that. I can't wait to hear about your results. So you'll have to let us know. And good job taking action on that.
Thanks. I didn't even know that was a thing. So that's cool how I basically came up with it, right? Just kidding.
Yes, it is a thing. And the funny thing is, the things that we come up with, most of the time, someone else is doing it at a very high level and we can learn some things. So yes, I can't wait to hear your results. And I'm happy to connect you guys with some more. These are kind of the cool things. This is like a little shout out to like going to family reunion or watching the live stream, which we are going to be hosting for you guys that cannot make it to family reunion. You will see these people up on a panel and their whole business will be around golden letters. Their whole business will be around door knocking. Their whole business, once they figure out how to do these things at a high level, they just go all in on it. And we can learn from them. So when we come back, we're gonna have lots of cool new information for you, and you can live stream and see some of that stuff too.
Hey, Terry.
Yeah.
So I saw a panel this week of 4 or 5 agents that were top 500 agents last year for Utah. And they kind of just talked about what they do and their secrets. So I think as you're talking about all these things to build your SOI, the key that these agents had was that their SOI they had a pretty good, strong SOI. So they just service their SOI. They wouldn't continue to go out and door knocking and whatnot because they got enough deals through their SOI. So I think all these things here, you're building that SOI. So then you can just focus on your SOI.
Yep. I would agree with that 100%. I think when people start building a database, I heard it again yesterday with a brand new agent I was interviewing. He just said, I don't want to bug my friends and family. I'm sure you guys have all had that thought. And so I feel like these are all really good ways to go out and build your database until you wrap your head around that your friends and family are actually going to give you business and they actually are going to enjoy you talking to them about real estate. And until you, like I said, you can wrap your head around that. These are all such good ways to go out, and everybody at the end of the day goes back into your SOI. If you start a relationship with them, they're going right back into your SOI. And you're right. At some point, you will have enough business in that database, and we know through the 36 touch, you're going to generate a 10% return. You won't have to go door knocking as much anymore. You won't have to make the calls so much anymore because you're just going to be marketing to the database you built through doing exactly all of these things together. So I love that. It's true. We sound like broken records saying database, 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 and it's true. Yes, and we will also do panels too. There will be panels in all the offices after family reunion. But keep an eye out for that, you guys. There are going to be a lot of marketing that's coming out over the next couple days. And there will be some of the top panel people through family reunion that will be live streamed into your offices. So one of them was going to be like a live listing consultation or a live, seller presentation. So definitely look out for those things that you're really focusing on and make sure you can jump in on some of those. So, yeah. So any questions on kind of just these ideas that we've been brainstorming? Any other ahas or anything you're planning to take action on with some of these? Hopefully it's been a little motivating to take a couple of these, not all of them. It's too hard to do them all, but anything you guys are getting from that?
I had another quick question.
Yeah.
So if I want to shadow somebody for an open house, how would I get in contact with them?
Just let me know. And now I know. I will help you find somebody that you can shadow. So there's open houses that go on every weekend. So we can usually find somebody that's totally fine with you going. Caveat to that. So when we are sending you in to shadow an open house, we just want to make sure that you are just doing that. So the agent will be doing their thing. They're going to be talking to clients as they come in. So we really are there as an observer, not necessarily there to talk to the people. You just want to be there to learn. And we always say that when we send somebody new in, like go help them put up the signs and, offer your help as well. That's kind of the best way to shadow. Other ways, so let's just pretend we have no open houses this weekend and nobody's willing to let you come shadow. You can always go out to find open houses. So you can get on your app and you can click open houses that are in the area. Just drive around and go to the open houses. Just kind of get a feel because everybody does them a little bit differently. So it's good to see several of them. You can see, did this person put out homemade cookies? Did this person put out bagged popcorn? Did this person have, last weekend I heard of there was I think Janet is on here and she went to it, but a really amazing open house with like a full spread of food and mimosas and different things like that. So it's fun to go to different ones. You can do multiple ones in a weekend. So just stop by open houses. You can introduce yourself. I'm just an agent checking out the house in the area. And then you get a feel for different agents and how they do it. New model homes are a good way to go that you'll kind of get a feel for what questions they're asking you. They'll give you flyers. So that's another good way to kind of shadow an open house without actually shadowing an open house. Hopefully that answers your question. And I will look to find somebody you can shadow. I know of a few that are going on this weekend. So.
And a little caveat to that is you're not allowed to be a secret agent. You do have to disclose that you are a real estate agent, South Keller Williams, whichever office you're in. Which I think you're South Valley or Cottonwood, one of those.
Alan, I think, is South Valley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Cool.
I thought it was...
Yeah, good point. Just introduce yourself. Just say, hey, I'm an agent with Keller Williams. I just wanted to check out your house. They're gonna love it. Open houses, they're never gonna be like, oh, I don't want you in here. Like they will love you coming in and chatting with them, eating their cookies. So good question. Any other questions on kind of what you're seeing on the screen? Cool. So the next thing I was going to show you, so this is basically just a couple scripts. So this is really the script that's kind of you're new to real estate. This is just going along with calling your SOI or making phone calls, letting them know, the items of value that we have. This is definitely going to make you feel a little more comfortable, like, adding value to people so you don't feel like you're bugging them. Because I know that's a very real thought as we start calling through our database. So letting them know, you have this awesome new app, you'd like them to check it out. You're going to host events. You'd like them. I mean, there's just so many things you can talk about. This is just kind of a really quick script that I wanted to share with you guys. So If you're interested, I can definitely email it to you too. It's a long one. I'm going to play this video. Jake, how do I make sure my sound works? I'm going to share sound, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show you guys this video. This is another rock star agent with Keller Williams and how she built her business door knocking.
Hello, my friends. Rachel Adams Lee here. Guess what we're talking about? We're talking open houses. How many of you are ready to rock your open houses to the next level? And you think, I want a ton of activity. I want a big open house. And I know that when I go knock on that door, I am terrified. I don't know what they're going to say. I don't want to bother them. So you know what? I'm not going to knock on the door. I'll just stick it on Facebook and we'll see how it goes. If that's you, then you better tune in, because today we're talking the open house script that's going to rock your world. Okay, you guys, it is the day before open house. You are ready to do this. You're gonna door knock, you're gonna add value to these people, and guess what? You're nervous. I get it, right? Your hands are a little sweaty, you're not sure what to say. Here is the master script that's gonna make all your fear go away. All right, you knock on that door, they answer. Hey there, my name's Rachel Adams Lee with Keller Williams Realty, and I just wanted to let you know, stopping by to give you a little courtesy notice, there's actually going to be a little bit of extra traffic in your neighborhood from 12 to 4 tomorrow on Saturday because we're doing an open house. Yeah, your neighbor, they actually just listed their house with us, the Rachel Adams Group, and it's actually listed for $25,000 more than they thought it would go for, which is really exciting for them and actually good news for you. So just want to stop by, saw a little bike outside, want to make sure you have a courtesy notice, just a little bit of extra traffic in the neighborhood. Boom. Silence, and you wait. So instead, because I will tell you guys, when I started door knocking, you guys know I started my whole business door knocking 200 doors a week, doing my 3 open houses a week. It was insane, it was crazy, and yet it works, right? When I did it though, I was so nervous because I thought if I knocked on their door, I'm bothering them and I was inconveniencing them. And in fact, I realized that's not the case at all. Because if their neighbor's house is going for $25,000 more than they thought it was, then that means good news for them. That means they potentially have more equity in their home than they thought. And yet I don't want to open the door and be like, hi, do you want to buy, sell? Right? Like that's too crazy. That doesn't work for me. And that's also not my style. So instead I came up with the script that I'm just stopping by to give you a little courtesy notice. There's going to be a little extra traffic in your neighborhood from 12 to 4 on Saturday. And then they're grateful. I'm telling you, when you tell them there's a courtesy notice, it's just like, okay, you're not selling me anything. And then I do let them know their neighbor's house is selling for $25,000 more. And then I wait, I'm silent, and I let them take the conversation where they will. Sometimes they just say thank you. Sometimes they ask me more questions about the neighborhood or the neighbor's house, right? And then I ask if they've ever wondered how much their house is worth. And I'll say, you know, for totally free, I'm more than happy to just get you values of your home. I mean, obviously the market's changing and sellers are actually netting more money than they thought they were. So, you know, whether you're looking to upsize, downsize, whatever you're looking to do, you know, I'd be happy to help you. No pressure though, of course. Like, I'm really passive when I'm at that door. And I will tell you, it has changed the way we do business. Stop by and give them a courtesy notice about traffic and then wait. Okay, just wait and see what they say. Now, the other piece to this is we always have a 2-sided flyer, which I'm going to show you guys side 1, which is always just sold, right? The houses that are being sold in their neighborhood, always with a call to action, right? And then side 2 is always something of value. So this one happens to be where to watch the fireworks on the 4th of July. We also let them know, sometimes we're doing a school supply drive, right? We want them to know that we are local experts who know about the community, who give back to the community. Those of you who know me know that I'm all about the mimosas. So we have a Santa mimosa event, we have mommies and mimosas, we have Easter bunny and mimosas. We're the kind of realtors you want to hang out with. And guess what? You can be that kind of realtor too. All right, my open house fans, I hope you found value in this video and it brings wealth to you and your business and your life. I care about you. I'm here for you. And don't forget, subscribe to my channel, connect with me on social media. If there's a specific script that you are looking for, I would love to be able to get that for you. Have a wonderful day.
Awesome. What did you guys hear her saying? I feel like that tied in so much of what we were talking about today. What stood out to you with that?
Most of it was he was offering value and then waiting for them to engage.
Yes. Silence, let the silence do the heavy lifting, is what we always say, right? What else? Anything else that stood out to you?
It reminded me of what Nick has said in the past, where if he's going to put a sign on a corner lot, he'll go knock on that person's door and ask if it's okay if he puts a sign in their parking strip. And then if they do, then he'll like send them a thank you card or drop one off. And so it just kind of reminds you when he mentions that.
Yes, I love that. Anything to talk to people. So yeah, I love that she says courtesy notice. Just like Nick asking permission to put the sign out, like we probably don't need that. And it's literally a courtesy that he's knocking on the door and saying, hey, I'm going to put my sign in the yard. Is it okay? So yes, I love that. What stood out to me and always has with her is that she knocks on 200 doors a week. Did you guys get that? 200 doors a week. And Google her. You can follow her. You will see she's literally in the top 500 in the US, not just in Utah or anything like that. And she did this door knocking and doing open houses. So kind of tied in everything we've talked about. She talked about the charity. She talked about being a pillar in the community with events. She talked about, doing food drives. She talked about, hey, your neighbor's house is just sold. So the just sold, the just listed, the courtesy, everything that we talked about, she pretty much tied into that door knock. So love it. Hopefully you guys got something out of that. Oh, we're not going to play it again. Sorry. And then any other questions? So I do have her script written out, which I'm happy to share with you guys as well. A couple other things that I wanted to go over with you really quickly, which was going to be kind of the piece of the technology, is my challenge. So I wanted to have you guys, here's kind of a challenge that you guys can do. I put Facebook, but you can put it anywhere. You can direct message people. You can let them know either, hey, I'm new and I'd love to do a free home evaluation for you. All I need is your address, something like that. So offer this like candy. You guys can, do these for free. People definitely want to know what their home value is worth. So I'm going to show you. Can you guys still hear me? Jake is frozen. Oh, okay. I was like, did my internet just die on me? So who's been working with the RPR? It's my favorite new tool. I know Alexi's been doing a lot. I think she said she did 50 of these this week.
Yes, I did.
Is it your new favorite tool as well?
Yes, except it's taking up all my printer ink. So I gotta go to the office now.
Do them in black and white. They don't have to be in color.
Yeah. That's fair.
So the RPR, so I'm challenging you guys to either, number one, if you have a database built, go ahead and go through it and give yourself a challenge to do 10 CMAs a week. It's going to help you get really good at doing CMAs. You're going to provide value to the people that you maybe don't want to bug. Or when you're doing open houses or you're door knocking, like just start offering free home evaluations. And one of the easiest ways to do it right now, and I'm still learning this myself, so start playing around with it, is this RPR. So we're not going to cover doing a CMA tonight, but I'm going to cover showing you how to do a CMA very quickly. So I actually had a buyer call me today and they were like, hey, I just don't know if this is priced correctly. So right when I was on the phone with them, I ran it through this really fast and it was literally the list price. So it worked out. They are coming in pretty accurate. So I'm going to show you, this is actually the one I did today. So all you have to do is click on residential and then you type in the address and you click create report or run report. I had already clicked that. But you can come in here and you can see very quickly, and this is kind of an interesting one because the picture isn't great. Sorry about that. But you can see it's a 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 1,800 square foot home built in 2021. It comes right in as of the 30th right at 608. So it's not an exact value of anything, but it does give you a range here. So it gives you a range right here, 523 to 693. It also shows you kind of a confidence score. So it's saying that based on this very fast report, it's saying it's probably a 4 out of 5. So there could be things that could determine any changes that need to be made. But I would challenge you. So I am doing this, anybody in my database, and I'm currently doing like, I'm going to do another one so you guys can see because that picture is weird. Let's do this one. So these are, I'm doing 10 a week and I'm keeping them with my DTD2. So these are a few that I actually did today. And all I'm going to do, so now I'm create the report, and I'm printing the mini report. I don't know what you're doing, Alexi. Some of these reports are quite large. So I started going to this mini report, which is like 10 pages, and I'm still probably only going to mail them the first couple pages. So I'm going to run this report and show you what it looks like. It's going to take a second, but you just click on.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I actually did the seller's report and I did like the first 3 pages. I don't know what the difference was, but you can see if there's, oh, I think it's the same.
Yeah, there's no need to send them the whole report, and that would kill your ink. There's just no need for it. But what this report is, so you can see it's going to give them a picture of their house. Everybody loves to see their own things. It's going to be presented from you. It's going to have all your contact info. It's going to have a map, and it's going to have this big, here's the value of your house. It is going to show the range too, which is kind of nice because when you look at these, like even when I ran my own, my first thought was, I think my home's worth more than that. And then I went through and I could see, oh, okay, so it's running as, this one's running as like 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. And I've been giving this challenge to a lot of agents, and I've had other agents come to me and say, hey, the neighbor came back and said, hey, can you rerun this and update my information? And that is such a good thing to have. So don't stress about it being 100% accurate. What I would stress about is, is there a good picture? Is the address correct? And does it spit out this estimated value for you? And that is your free CMA. Because we don't want to give them too much information anyway until we've seen the house. So right now I'm checking, and this is also what I found going through my database. I'm checking the owner's name and making sure it matches my database. And I have found a couple people where it didn't match. So I'm like, either the people in my database are currently renting or they have moved. Either way, I need to find that out. So it gives me a really good excuse to be like, hey, did you guys move? Which would be tragic for me, but it happens, right? So I just wanted to show you that quick RPR report. You're going to hear us talk a lot about it. We're all kind of in love with it right now. But it's a really quick way to do a super fast CMA. Any questions on that? Hopefully I didn't go too fast on showing you how to do it.
I just want to say,
go ahead.
I just want to say thanks, Terry, for the RPR. I'm going to run that and send it to my uncle in the mail. So I think that would be great.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I know we just talked about you kind of having a hard time finding comps, so it'll be interesting to see if it
Yes.
pulls up and what kind of information you get. But
Thank
play
you.
around with these. You can see I'm making a lot of reports right now. There are so many different reports. So get familiar with what you like about it, what you don't like about it. I just love that in 3 seconds it spits out a value without me having to do a whole lot. But I've created flyers. You can come in here and create flyers. Like, it's just a cool report. So it's free with the MLS. So you do have to sign up for it. But all you need to do to sign up for it is you just need I think it's your Salt Lake Board of Realtors number. So I think that's your NERDS number. So super easy to find. You can just go through your email and type in Salt Lake Board of Realtors, or you can go to their website and it will give you that. But that's all you need. And then it's another free service for you attached to the MLS. Okay, well, hopefully you've been given a lot of good ideas on going out and getting sellers, adding value to them. If you get a lead, what we can do with it as far as like getting them that quick value. But any other questions or anything else that I can answer for you tonight? Marcel, do you want to do a plug for your farming app and how you can help with this information too?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so we have a farming app that can really help you. I think the main thing is get organized. It helps you map out an area, helps you keep track of who you spoke to, names, addresses, things like that. You can even sort, like if you create a parent farm, you can sort that down to smaller farms, we call them baby farms, but just where you can kind of be very specific. So we have software that's free, that can really help out, again, with your listings, or if you want to do kind of like you said, the golden letter or whatnot. So yeah, I'd love to sit down and strategize with you on how to use these tools that can make your job a little bit easier.
Yes, farming was not technically on my list, and it's a really good way to go get listings. It basically is door knocking on steroids. So sit down with Marcel. They have a really cool tool that can help you do that. Another piece of technology, it's just easier to learn it straight from somebody who knows how it works, and they always offer to sit down with you to do that. So take them up on that.
Yeah, please do.
Cool. Anything else? What else are you guys going to take action on tonight? Doesn't have to be tonight, but from what you learned tonight.
I'm gonna start messaging more people on Facebook, and I'm gonna add them to my database.
Love that. So kind of the 5 by 5 by 5. Cool. Jake?
I unmuted myself to like commit myself to say something if I'm trying to pick. And the one I'm thinking of is I need to really be intentional about setting appointments,
Even if they're fake.
even if they're fake.
It's with real people, your real presentation, you will learn a lot. And you get to share your message.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, holding you accountable to it. One more. Who else is taking action? I know Tracy's doing an RPR on a lead. One more person share what they're going to take action on, and we will wrap up.
I'm gonna do the farming and commit myself to more hours of door knocking, because at least the people that I follow, there's a power in it, and of the prospecting tools, that's the one that I'd rather do the most. I just find too many excuses not to, so it's just got to find the excuse to do it rather than not to.
Yes. Take Marcel up on that. Go meet with him, because his tool, like he said, it's kind of cool. You can gamify it a little bit. Like you can click on the houses you've been to. And to me, if I can turn something into a game, it helps remove those excuses. So
Yeah. I'll have Liz reach out to you.
Oh yeah, no, I met with Liz a while ago. I've done a couple of them, and then I strayed away, and then I just got to go back to farming and printing out that whole list and whatnot. And I have the app and everything signed up. It's pretty cool. So I've done it. I just got to get back to it.
recommit. Yep.
Yeah, we'd love to strategize. So any help you need, we're here for you.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Marcel.
You bet.
Okay, you guys. Well, thank you for joining me tonight. Let me know what questions you have. So as a reminder, anybody who wants to do the morning call with us, tomorrow we will be doing a morning huddle at 8:30. Otherwise, both Nick, myself, and Jake will be out of town for the next week. So basically everything we do that's normally consistent on the schedule will be canceled next week. However, we will be available for any questions you have, text, call, email us, and watch out for all the family reunion stuff. It's basically going to take the place of our training. So you will still learn a lot. Just plug into what your offices are doing when it comes to the family reunion stuff for next week. And go in and book more appointments. We will be back with bells on and ready to share. So, okay, I hope you guys have a great night. Let me know how I can help you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Terry.
so much.
Thank you.